So if you've ever wondered how a autopilot works on a helicopter, I'm going to just take a couple of minutes and explain that to you right now. So there's two different types of autopilots that we're going to be talking about today. One is the 2-axis autopilot, and the other one is a 4-axis autopilot. And the mechanics of how it actually works is you have actuators on your flight controls. So physical actuators on your flight controls. There's a computer in the background that runs those actuators. And on a 2-axis autopilot, it actually only has an actuator on your cyclic control. Now the cyclic control is the one that is able to control the attitude of the aircraft, so it holds it stable, and then it adjusts the bank, so turning left or right, and it adjusts the pitch, so nose up or nose down. If you have a 2-axis autopilot, that's actually a huge step in the right direction, and the HX50 actually comes standard with the 2-axis autopilot. It's a step in the right direction because helicopters are inherently unstable, which means that if you were to let go of the control in flight, the helicopter would actually start rolling, and then eventually it would just go completely out of control. It would roll over and be out of control. An airplane, on the other hand, is actually inherently stable. So if you take your hands off the controls, if something's going wrong, they always tell you just take your hands off the controls. And because the airplane is inherently stable, it'll actually stabilize the airplane into level flight again. Helicopters are not like that. And so that's a really nice thing to be able to have an autopilot installed in the aircraft as standard, so that it reduces the pilot's workload. If they get into really busy airspace, into bad weather, they're in windy, gusty situations, whatever happens to be, they're getting busy with other tasks, it just kind of alleviates that pressure of making sure that they're keeping the helicopter stable and that they're doing all the other things that they need to at the same time. So it provides that support for you, and I think that's an important one, particularly in the instances that I just mentioned. Now, just give me 30 seconds of your time. I want to invite you to the Hill Helicopters exclusive presentation. This is a presentation that Ruben and I do online. It takes 30 minutes, and we walk you through all the details, the specs, the performance of the helicopter, as well as the development stage that we're at. And at the end of the presentation, we give you an opportunity to pre-order the aircraft now under special conditions. If you want to book one, just go to hillhelicopters.com/schedule, and I'll see you there. If you go to a 4-axis autopilot, what happens is you actually have actuators on all 3 of your flight controls. So you have the cyclic, the collective, and the pedals. Now the collective is the one that's controlling your power or your pitch on the rotor blades collectively, all 3 of them. And so now we can control the altitude as well. So once you have the collective, we can do stabilization, so keeping the helicopter stable. We can control an altitude and an airspeed, which is really nice. And then you have an actuator on your pedals, which controls your yaw as well. The moment we have a 4-axis autopilot, it kind of opens up a host of different things that you can do. The simple ones that we can talk about are obviously, if I have autopilot selected, then I can choose an altitude and an airspeed, and I can just program those on the IPI. I can choose, you know what, I want to climb to 2,500 feet, and it'll hold there, and then I want to cruise at 140 knots, and it'll hold there. Or I could slow it down and say I want to do 110 knots, and it'll slow it down to that. And so it has the ability to control all of those things as well. Now, there's lots of additional things that you can do with a 4-axis autopilot that I think help improve your safety a lot as well. Some of them are going to be available from day one if you upgrade to the 4-axis autopilot, and some of them are going to be features that are going to be available over time as they get certified. The helicopter will be capable of it from a computer and technical point of view. It'll be able to do it, but it'll take some time to get those things certified and approved so that we can actually roll them out as free software updates to you. So some of those things are auto hover, which means you can hit a button and a helicopter will just hover in one position for you. Auto takeoff and land, same thing. You can hit a button, helicopter will go from that hover and it'll land or it'll take off for you. Those are incredible things to have. Also, you know, one of the features in airplanes, there's one airplane in particular that has a feature where you can hit a button and it'll actually fly you and land you at a local airport. You're going to have the option to do that with the HX or the HC50 as well. Hit a fly to, direct to button of basically an emergency button, and it'll pick the nearest airport. It'll actually be able to communicate with ATC for you, and then it'll be able to fly an approach to the runway and be able to land on the runway for you in the event that you had, let's say your pilot became incapacitated or something like that. That's an amazing safety feature to have, and the 4-axis autopilot will allow us to be able to do that. Other things that are a little more nuanced, but I think are really important as well, in the event of an engine failure, it'll actually be able to pull the collective down for you. So it'll flatten the pitch of the rotor blades, so it'll maintain that inertia for you if the pilot is a little bit slow to be able to do that on their own. It'll do that for you. That's a nice safety feature. In the auto rotation itself, the collective will actually be monitoring the collective and the pitch of the blades and the rotor speed, and it'll be able to maintain that rotor speed perfectly in the green for you throughout that auto rotation. That's a really nice thing to have as well, because then it again alleviates the workload of the pilot in that emergency stressful situation. All they need to do is fly the helicopter with the cyclic, flare at the bottom, pull up the collective, and everything's going to be good. So that's a really nice thing as well. And then other things I think that are going to be really helpful and that we're going to be able to, that we are already programming into the autopilot system is things like your yaw control. Typically, depending on which state of flight that you're going through, whether you're taking off into a hover or landing, or you're going through a transition from hover to forward flight or forward flight back to the hover, there's quite a bit of pedal input that's needed for those different transitions. And so we're actually able to preeminently put a little bit of pedal in that's needed for those different maneuvers. And so you're going to be able to actually lift the helicopter into a hover with very minimal pedal input, or vice versa, putting it down. Or as you go through that translation or slowing down from the forward flight into that hover, you're going to have a lot less inputs that are needed. Or even if you get a gust of wind and it kicks the helicopter, you need to put a quick pedal input, the computer is actually going to be faster than you at putting that pedal input in. And so it's going to be able to put it in. It's going to need less pedal actually inputted. So all these little different types of things are going to be added into there. Another one that's really, I think it's going to be a huge factor for private pilots or even operating pilots that are, let's say, long lining, sling work, and things like that, is we have haptic feedback. And so what that means is, let's say on your collective, for example, if you're reaching one of your limiting factors, it's actually going to stiffen up a little bit for you. So let's say you're hitting your 100% and you're going into your 5-minute power load and then your 30-second load, and before you over torque the helicopter. Let's say you had your head hanging out the window, you're long lining, and you're not able to see the gauges as well. You'll be able to pull that collective and you haptically be able to feel that it's stiffening up a little bit, and it'll actually give you a little buzz. And the more you pull it and you get further and further to that extreme, to one of those limitations, it's actually going to buzz you even more. So you're going to be able to get haptic feedback on your controls in these different kind of more critical situations. So the list can go on, but I think having that is a big added bonus and an added feature. I'm excited. I can't wait to be flying with it, testing it out, playing around with it. Any 4-axis autopilot that I've flown in the past has been amazing. I really enjoyed it, and so I can't wait to do it on the HX50. I can't wait for you guys to try it either. I think you're going to really like it.